Hey guys, did you miss us? It's been a long road coming back from Facebook only land, but Corey and I are back now, back on YouTube, back on Anchor FM, back on Apple Podcasts, and we're back this week to talk about Texas Motor Speedway, Xfinity, and Cup Style. We're also going to preview next weekend at Phoenix. It's elimination weekend. 8 men enter, 4 men leave. His name's Corey. My name is Chris, and this is the return to the podcast world of the C&J Speedway Review. Christopher Bell and Kevin Harvick made it a fantastically exciting weekend at Texas this past week, and we're here to break down everything Texas, preview everything Phoenix, and talk about elimination weekend coming up just in a few short days at ISM Raceway in Phoenix, Arizona. My name is Chris Burns from the Loki and Jabroni Show. You have missed us terribly, and across the screen from me, he is the Jolly Rancher champion of the world. This is Corey Huffnagel. Corey, welcome back, bro.
Yeah, it's great to be back, and we're finally back on YouTube land and Facebook land and everywhere else in between. So yes, this is probably one of the best days there is in history. So folks, mark this down. November 6th, 2019. We are back, baby. We are back.
Wow. You'll always remember where you were when Corey said that. But, you're always also going to remember where you were when the Kevin Harvick Appreciation Tour starts up again. And what do you do when you have such a big win? You celebrate with an El Segundo, Steve Austin, Broken Skull IPA. This is a gorgeous beverage. We tried this last night on the Loki and Jabroni Show. If you ever want to try it. And, Corey, you can find this near you if you're an IPA guy. This is in Massachusetts now.
Okay.
So I found mine in Oxford. You can find yours. Just go to elsegundobrewingcompany.com. Check out the map, and it'll tell you where to find all the El Segundo products in your area. But enough about, although word has it, he is a Kevin Harvick fan. I can't confirm nor deny that. But as usual, we go to Corey and the news. Corey, what do you got for us on the docket today?
So the biggest news that came out Monday was so not only Roger Penske won the Medal of Freedom of Courage a couple weeks ago, but big news on Monday was not only he purchased the NTT IndyCar Series, but also purchased the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So when I first heard this, I thought to myself, all right, what do you – so, well, yeah, I can't speak English today. But anyways, so – when I first heard this, I thought to myself, okay, it's Roger Penske. This guy has been successful when he was like successful in everything, almost motorsports. IndyCar, NASCAR. He's won a lot. He's won a couple Daytona 500s. He's won a Brickyard 400. He's won the Indianapolis 500 18 times. With guys like Castroneves, Cornish, Mears, Unser, Power, and then of course Pagenaud, who won back in May, and then of course Well, what do you expect? I mean, Roger Penske, when I first heard that he acquired these two series and racetrack, I thought to myself, all right, so what are we going to see now that Penske has acquired IndyCar and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? My big question is, what's going to happen with the IndyCar series in general? Because my theory is, probably somewhere after 2020, there might be, maybe more races in 2021 or something like that. And there's also the possibility of a NASCAR, IndyCar doubleheader weekend, which at first I thought to myself, I would totally love to see this. I would want to watch this either way. But the question is, what racetracks do you think are going to be there and how are they going to play out? But other than that, I'm so excited for this. And it's going to be interesting to see what Penske is going to do with IndyCar and the Speedway.
Sure, and the one thing everybody needs to know is Roger Penske's first love was the IndyCar Series. That's the way Roger Penske came into the racing world. And then he forayed into NASCAR, and now he's just this multiple car owner. Now he's a series owner, multiple championships, as Corey mentioned, on the IndyCar Series. Unfortunately, only one on the NASCAR Cup Series, but he's fielded many, many drivers that have won many, many races, not to mention Jeremy Mayfield, Rusty Wallace, Ryan Newman, Ryan Blaney. I mean, dude, the list. Logano, Keselowski. I mean, come on. This guy is genius. Oh, he's 2 Cup Series championships. My mistake. Let me run that
Yeah.
back for you. I forgot about Logano only because Logano's easy to forget about. No disrespect, Joey. You've already done that to yourself last week. So I just think that Roger Penske buying that series, buying the raceway, you're going to see big changes to the good. It's not going to be, this wishy-washy, we're going to make changes, and the biggest change they make is to the color of the logo. This is Roger Penske. This is the captain. He's going to do whatever it takes to make this series what it was years ago, which was easily some of the best racing you could find anywhere in the world.
Oh, without question. I mean, and also not to mention, he also won the IndyCar Series championship this year with Joseph Newgarden, and there's a lot I could say with Penske, but on the other hand, I think it's going to be very interesting to see what he's going to do with the IndyCar Series and mostly the Indianapolis Speedway in general. I mean, I would probably say, for instance, we're still going to have the Indianapolis 500 on Memorial Day, so you wouldn't want to move tradition to another date or something like that. And then, of course, you're still going to have the Brickyard 400, which, of course, NASCAR's been there for a really long time. But again, I'm really interested to see, if IndyCar could add a couple more races in 2021, because if you think about it, there hasn't been that much races on the schedule. And then, of course, they did have Pocono for a couple of years, but that had a couple problems and that got taken off the schedule. But the only thing, and if Penske's watching this right now, if he can bring IndyCar back to New Hampshire Motor Speedway in 2021, I will so definitely go, because I've never been to an IndyCar race live. I mean, it's probably one of the best there is. And yeah, there was the time where they went up there in 2011, and that was the last time they did go up there. And, of course, it was one of the races that kind of ended in a controversial finish, and, of course, with rain and all that stuff in the process. But no, I'm really excited. I'm really interested to see what it's going to do with these series and the track. But it's going to be fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to great things. The other thing that I was thinking about when the news broke is Roger Penske's got that kind of stroke in now not only the IndyCar Series but in NASCAR, to where we might see 2, 3, 4 years down the road Indianapolis get a second Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series date.
I doubt it. I highly doubt that they're going to get a second Cup date. I would not want to see them run twice at Indy. I mean,
what are you kidding? It'd be great.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like the problem is about that is, there's some racetracks, I hardly don't understand, why Kansas has 2 Cup dates. I mean, I get it, one for the playoffs and then one for the spring because you have that like casino, whatever. But that's the only thing I highly doubt that Penske's going to do. And I would want them to see a second Cup date because, let's face it, there's only 36 races on the schedule. And who knows what NASCAR is going to do in 2021 with the new schedule, whatever. They might add more races. They might take some off the schedule, whatever it is, and so forth. I would probably say if NASCAR wanted to go back to Indianapolis for the second time, why don't they just run them on the infield road course? Because let's face it. I mean, when I was watching the race back in September, Kevin Harvick won the race by like 6 seconds. And I thought to myself, it was an okay race. With the starts and restarts, that was the part where it was exciting. But then once the driver got out to like a 5-second lead, 6-second lead, it was just pretty much, everybody's all racing for second place or whatever. But I don't know, like that's kind of like my only doubt about that. If NASCAR would have a second Cup date at Indianapolis. But my other big idea is why not bring the Truck Series to the Brickyard? I think that would be a great idea. Now, this is my kind of idea and solution on this. So let's say you have the Cup race on the Sunday, and of course, you know how Atlanta Motor Speedway does their whole doubleheader weekend with of course the Xfinity race first, and then the Truck Series race second. So why don't they run the Truck Series race first, which that would probably be like maybe 100 laps or so, maybe 100 laps. No, wait. 50 laps, that's how it is. And then, of course, you run the Xfinity race like right after that. So you would have the truck race run around noon time, and then, of course, the Xfinity race run at like 3 o'clock or whatever it is, and so forth. So if Atlanta have a doubleheader weekend with Xfinity and the Truck Series races, why not the Brickyard? Because I think that's probably something that NASCAR maybe should look at in 2021.
Well, going back to your first point, and then I'll get to the second point. Depending on what team you wear on your little cap or your shirt, getting out to a 6-second lead does not suck. Now,
Unless it's Kevin Harvick.
Exactly. If it was Kyle Busch, it would suck. But having said that, going back to the second point, there's no reason why they couldn't throw down a doubleheader weekend, bring the trucks back, and make it this grand affair. That is a great racetrack, great facility. Fans in Indiana are rabid for NASCAR, for all sorts of motorsports. US 24 Speedway in Logansport has the Outlaw Winged Midgets, where our friend Chad Hatfield used to drive. And, man, that's excitement. They love racing in all ways, shapes, or forms. So if you can throw an extra date or an extra series toward Indianapolis Motor Speedway, then by all means do it. And Roger Penske has the stroke to do it.
I mean, indeed he does, and also there was quite talk, I think there was some quite talk rumors that, they might bring the Arca Menard to Indianapolis, but who knows?
Never know till you get there, my friend. Never know. Any other news coming in?
All right, so one silly season note. So Austin Hill is going to be coming back to Hattori Racing Enterprises in 2020. So if not, he doesn't win the championship this year. There's quite possibility he might win it next year, quite forth and so on. But in the other news, who's ready to see Kyle Busch run next year in the Rolex 24 Daytona?
Actually, no, that's just me being a jerk toward Kyle Busch. I think it'd be great. I remember watching the Earnhardts do it, Dale and Dale Jr.
Yeah,
and they had a hell of a time. They ran a hell of a race, and it's one of the most exciting things you can watch. Of course, I don't know anybody that watches all 24 hours straight. You'd have to be sick and demented in the head to do that. However,
right.
You catch it in increments. You know who's driving when. You watch a little bit here. You watch a little bit there. It's a fun and exciting time. And it shows that a driver has not only, skills, but endurance. You're in that car for 8 hours straight. You're out there killing it. Then you pull in, you switch drivers, and the next guy goes. It just really is. It takes a lot of mental preparation, physical preparation, not only physical as in, you're working out, you're getting yourself fit to be in this car, but think about it. You're now in a seat for 8 hours. There's no bathroom break. You're not stopping at Taco Bell. You're not getting you're not getting a chicken sandwich when you go into the pits like Terry Chavot. You are driving. That is it. And by the time you get out of that car, you feel it. I remember them having to peel Dale Jr. out of that car after his 8 hours. And he was a young guy. When Senior got out of the car, it was just like, all right, that was fun. So it shows you the difference between, somebody who's ready, set, go for this, and somebody who maybe wasn't as prepared but did it anyway. It takes a lot.
And not only Kyle Busch is the latest one that's going to do it, but there has been other NASCAR drivers that have done it. So not only the Earnhardts have done it, but also AJ Allmendinger has done it before, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch, and many more NASCAR drivers that have done the Rolex 24 Daytona. But think of it this way. It's pretty much like the pre-kickoff to Speed Weeks at Daytona. So that's pretty much their kickoff to everything at Daytona and mostly everything motorsports in general. But, I hardly don't watch any of the other IMSA races, but the one I'll usually watch the most would have to be the 24-hour Daytona.
Yeah, always a good time. Always a good time. You had one other piece of silly season news that you sent to me via text message not long ago. What was that all about?
All right, so Joe Gibbs Racing announced their driver lineup for the Xfinity Series next year. So not only Harrison Burton is going to run full-time in the 20 car next season, but it was also announced yesterday that Riley Herbst is going to run full-time in the Xfinity Series driving the team's 18 car. So basically, the Xfinity team lineup is already set. So you have Herbst in the 18. Jones will be coming back in the 19 car, which, of course, he won at Kansas a couple weeks ago. And then, of course, you have Harrison Burton that's going to drive the 20 car next season. So let's just say you have two rookies that are going to be in for next year. One that's been in the NASCAR series for a couple of years now, and I'd probably say third year in Joe Gibbs. But something tells me you're probably not going to see Kyle Busch in the Xfinity Series, I'm guessing, next year, unless he takes another car or if he drives the team's 81 car or something like that. But But I kind of thought about it, and I just said to myself, all right, so Riley, he's been kind of decent, and there has been races where he has been okay. And then, of course, Harrison Burton, he has some really good runs too. But think of it this way, next year they're going full time in Xfinity. So they're going to be running all 33 races next year, and it's going to take them a lot to learn. But, once they figure it out, they should be pretty good.
Absolutely, and it's a great driver lineup of young, hungry Lions that want to get out there and just kick it and do the best that they can. And hopefully it'll translate into some wins and maybe a championship run for one of these kids.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so is that it for the news?
Let me take a look. As I know, let's see. I believe that's about it.
Dumb question. How many career wins does Jimmy Johnson have? I want to say it's like 92, 93?
83.
83? Okay, so he surpassed his win record with his winless record recently.
Yeah.
93 races, poor guy. And talk about a guy who's had some troubles. He was running well this weekend. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But right now let's talk Xfinity in Texas. And boy, oh boy, we said it before. We'll say it again. It's Christopher Bell's. We're all just kind of living in it. Is there someone that can stop him coming into Phoenix and then further on into championship weekend in Miami?
Well, first and foremost, Bell's already in the next round, so
he doesn't know to be true. But who can stop him? That's the question.
All right, so I'm probably going to say the only guy that could stop him that would have a really good chance would have to be Cole Custer.
What about Reddick, our reigning and defending champion?
Reddick, I think, would also be a good shot, too, because let's remember, you go back to Homestead last year, and, of course, there was the one part where Tyler Reddick, had the car to beat, and then, of course, he kind of scraped the wall a couple of times, but since the Xfinity Series has the composite bodies, which, of course, it doesn't really slow the cars down, whatever, it just makes them keep on going. That pretty much, led him to a win in the championship. And, of course, Cole Custer, think about what happened 2 years ago. Not only he won the race, but he flat out dominated the race at Homestead. So I have a feeling, if you have Cole Custer and Tyler Reddick that make it into the championship four next week, you might see a really close championship next Saturday. And I got to tell you, it's anybody's championship right now. And then pretty much, for the fourth spot in Xfinity, I'm still saying it's up for grabs. But if I had to pick one right now, I'm still hoping, Justin Allgaier gets that fourth and final spot. But I don't know. I think this Xfinity championship, it may just come down to all three of those guys. Because let's face it, the big three, they've won multiple races this year. And, of course, on the mile and a half, they've just been so tough to beat on.
And Allgaier in the last few weeks has really come on strong to a point where you now look at that team and you say, like you said, there's a really, really good shot for this team to make that championship four. Will he be the guy that tipped the apple cart? Not quite sure, but if he keeps this up, that forward momentum, by the time we get to Miami, he just might be the guy that tips the apple cart.
I could agree on that.
All right, so let's give him the rundown, courtesy of Corey Huffnagel. We already said Christopher Bell has won the race. Let's see where everybody else finished.
All right, so Ross Chastain ends up finishing in second. You have Austin Cindric in third, Brandon Jones in fourth, John Hunter Nemechek in fifth, Justin Allgaier rounds out in sixth, Harrison Burton in seventh, Cole Custer rounds out in eighth, Jeb Burton in ninth, and Ryan Sieg rounds out your top 10. Excuse me. Then Michael Annett rounds out 11th. You have Greg Galding in 13th. Other notables, you have Chase Briscoe in 22nd, CJ McLaughlin in 27th, Tyler Reddick in 29th, Noah Gragson in 30th. And going all the way down, you have J.J. Yaley in 38th.
All right, so I'll start with the happy and sad this time. We've talked about him already. I'm going to give my happy to Justin Allgaier. That forward momentum is really going to be necessary and a great morale boost going forward into not only elimination weekend, but championship weekend 2 weeks from now in Miami at Homestead-Miami Speedway. My sad is going to go to Tyler Reddick. A little bit of problems during that race knocked him right out of contention. It was not fun to watch.
Yeah, my sad is going to be the same thing as well. And I want to say that after that crash, I think he was only about 47 points to the good. So it's not really too bad, but again, Reddick cannot afford to mess up this weekend at Phoenix because, of course, one bad mistake or one crash, could take you out of the championship four. And I'm going to go with Austin Cindric after finishing in third on Saturday night. Good run for this 22 team, but again, if this team wants to go to the championship four, they have to win on Sunday.
Absolutely. So let's go to the picks now. Both of us had Christopher Bell as our lock. He finished first. Here's where things go sideways. Corey, you took Chase Britt. Now it's my turn not to speak English. You took Chase Briscoe as your sleeper. He finished 22nd. That gives you a total of 23. You divide that in half. Your finish is an 11.5. Unfortunately, I took Justin Allgaier as my sleeper. He finished 6th for a total of 7. My finish is a 3.5, giving me the 2 points on the Xfinity circuit. Now, we move on to Sunday's Cup race. Great restarts, great action, bad luck for a lot of guys. Some of those hits were nasty, going straight in, if I may say so, before we talk about the race. Keselowski and Stenhouse. And it just seemed coming out of that third and fourth turn in that tri-oval that everybody slipped in the same spot. But when the dust settled and all was said and done, it was Kevin Harvick coming in first. A really, really great performance by that 4 team.
Not only a great performance, but a clutch performance.
Absolutely. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, and you didn't even have Kevin Harvick in your championship 4. And I said, he's going to those 3 tracks. Texas and Phoenix are going to be the place to watch him. He's going to win in one of those 2 places. He pulls it off in Texas. Fantastic run for that whole 4 team. And really great runs by a lot of guys. Almirola, Truex, both in the top 10. Almirola comes in 2nd, Truex in 6th. Guys were showing their mettle, and I mean that in the best way. Kyle Busch had great runs here and there. Some guys got caught up into trouble and could never recover, but they were out there busting it. Denny Hamlin, when he slid across the grass and busted his nose, not the physical one, the one on the car, on that concrete divide after he slid through the grass, and to come back and battle it out and at one point be back in the top 10, man, those teams are doing great things with those cars when back in the day, if somebody had that accident, you weren't going back out there.
Well, you talk about this. So not only you had a couple of guys that came into Texas that were like 20 points to the good, 40 points to the good. I mean, you look at Hamlin, he was about, I want to say 30 points to the good going into Texas. And then after Texas, he's now about 20 points behind the cutoff. Mm-hmm. And I guess Hamlin said in his interview on Sunday, and I thought this kind of hit me. So he said, all those guys in the top 4, don't get too comfortable just yet, because anything's going to happen on Sunday in Phoenix. There's going to be guys, that are going to be going for it. And there's going to be guys that are going to be taking some gambling and, of course, some pitch strategy and some track position, whatever, and all that. But I will want to say this. So talk about having 6 cautions in the first stage.
Yep.
Which, of course, NASCAR had that whole goop on the turn 3 and 4, which, everybody thought, oh, if we could run up there pretty early, we might get some really good grip. Well, unfortunately, that wasn't the case because, the grip didn't really settle in yet because, with the heat and the tire contraction, they didn't really like fit it in pretty good. So that was why, you had those cautions. And then, of course, the Stenhouse Keselowski crash or whatever it is and so forth. But I will say this about Kevin Harvick. I mean, I did not choose him to go to the championship 4. I mean, I really wanted to see Chase Elliott make it, but now since he's only 78 points behind the cutoff, I highly doubt he's going to make it unless something unfortunate happens. But I will say this, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same 4 guys that were battling out for the championship from last year, but who knows? I mean, Phoenix is a game changer. We might see some different things that you haven't seen before, but I'm really interested to see what plays out, and I'm really interested to see who's going to join Truex and Harvick to run for the championship.
Well, one thing I'm gonna make a preemptive strike. I know we're not even talking about Phoenix weekend yet. That's a little later in the broadcast, but you said if something unfortunate happens. Well, let's turn that table around. What if something fortunate happens and Chase Elliott runs the race of his life next week?
Right.
at Phoenix, wins the race, and muscles his way into championship 4. Now you have to look at guys like Kyle Busch, Logano. What kind of day are they going to have if in the event, and we're just prognosticating here, if in the event that Chase Elliott wins this race, now it's between the 22 and the 18, who's going to get in on points. They're really, really close together right now. Neither one of them have a win in this round of the playoffs. This is going to be do or die for both of those teams, and I can only imagine that if they get near each other, there's going to be some bumping and banging, and one of them is going to be upsetted when it's all over.
Yeah, and of course, we've seen that happen before. Drivers that were in that must-win elimination, they go into the elimination race and they win. We've seen that happen to a couple of drivers before.
How about Joey Logano last year?
Yep, Joey Logano last year, he did that. I mean, I could go back to Brad Keselowski when he won at Talladega back in 2014.
Yes.
And
Kevin Harvick in 2014.
And wasn't 15 at Dover.
Yeah, he wasn't having a stellar season. I'm just going to go back to 14, the championship season for that 14.
Yeah.
He came in 8th out of 8 in the round of 8, pulls off that victory in Phoenix, and then goes the next week and wins it all in Homestead-Miami Speedway. So, again, there is a possibility, and we always say this, anything can happen. Don't sleep on Chase Elliott just yet.
Okay.
All right, so why don't you give them the rundown, the finishing order, then we'll go to happy, sad picks and points.
All right, so Kevin Harvick wins the race along with Stewart-Haas Racing drivers Eric Almirola and Daniel Suarez, who finished in 3rd. Joey Logano ends up finishing in 4th, Alex Bowman in the top 5. Then you have Martin Truex Jr. in 6th. You have Kyle Busch in 7th, Ryan Blaney in 8th. Oh, excuse me. Kurt Busch in 9th, and Eric Jones rounds out your top 10. And then you have Clint Bowyer in 11th, Kyle Larson in 12th, Austin Dillon in 13th, Guido in 14th, Ryan Newman in 15th, Daniel Hemrick in 16th, William Byron in 17th, Ty Dillon in 18th, Chris Buescher in 19th, and Paul Menard rounds out your top 20. Then you got John Hunter Nemechek. You have Ryan Preece in 23rd. You have Denny Hamlin in 28th, Chase Elliott in 32nd, and then you have Brad Keselowski in 39th and Stenhouse in 40th. And, of course, Jimmy Johnson in 34th.
Oh, man, it's getting worse and worse every week. Why don't you go ahead and give us a happy and sad for the Cup race?
All right, so my happy, I'm going to go with Daniel Suarez after finishing in 3rd on Sunday. And let's remember, guys, he's in a little bit of a contract year, so he hasn't really signed his extension yet. But, of course, Tony Stewart and all those guys have said, they are close at signing an extension, but great run for this kid. I definitely want to see him get a win before the season's out. And then, of course, my sad, I'm going to have to go with Chase Elliott, which, of course, now 78 points behind the cutoff in a deep hole. It's not really that good for this team, but we'll just see what happens in Phoenix.
I agree with both of those. I'm going to go a different direction. My happy's going to go to Eric Almirola. 2nd place finish. Looked strong throughout the race. At times, you thought he was going to give Harvick a little bit of the business and make the pass, but boy, all those Stewart-Haas cars were strong, real strong. Yeah. But unfortunately for Eric Almirola, Harvick's was just a tad bit stronger, or maybe it's the veteran status versus, 5th, 6th-year driver, Eric Almirola. I can't say too much good stuff about that 10 team. It's a strange world we live in where a few years ago, when we talk about the 10 team, we're talking about who did Danica wreck this week. Now, when we talk about the 10 team, we talk about Eric Almirola moving closer and closer and closer. He's got a win under his belt, but he can get more. And that's what we're looking for, more. So he's my happy. My sad's going to go to Brad Keselowski, running really, really good until he got up into that corner, slid the car. Right behind him, the 17 slides the car. Now, the original bump that the 2-car took, it looked like he could have went on until that 17, no fault of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., barrels into the back of him. Keselowski's ass end, destroyed. Stenhouse's front end, destroyed. Just not a fun time for either of them. I might give a mini sad to Ricky Stenhouse, but you have to give in my opinion, I have to give the big one to Keselowski. He had a real strong car. He was looking for that really good run to let people know, you know what, I may not be in that final 8, but here I am. I'm still a threat. And it just didn't
Of
happen.
course.
It just did not happen this weekend. And it sucked to have to watch it with the great Baldini, who was hoping for a really good run for his number 2 team.
Yeah.
And unfortunately didn't pan out that way.
Right.
All right. So let's go to the picks and then a very interesting situation that we've got coming up in the next 2 weeks. So you took Martin Truex Jr. as your lock. He finished 6th. You took Kyle Larson as your sleeper. He finished 12th. And you took William Byron as your hopeful. He finished 17th. That's a total of 33. Divide that by 3. Corey, hell of a finish, 11th. I had Kevin Harvick as my lock. He finished 1st. I took Eric Almirola as my sleeper. He finished 2nd. And I have Kyle Larson as my hopeful, 12th. That's a total of 15. Divide that, my finish is 5, giving me 3 points. Now here comes the magic situation. We just talked about out of nowhere, guys. Right now, the lead is 11 points, 99 to 88 in my favor. Now, here comes Stat Boy, and I can see it already. This is going to come down to while we're sitting at the man cave in a Zarju mini mansion on November 17th in the pre and the post race. And then while the race is on, guys, enjoy the race. Come back and see us on YouTube when we're done. I have a feeling this is going to come down to that last day where we're counting points in our head. The notebook will be there. The points will be there. And Corey and I will both be there.
Yeah.
And I have a really good feeling that it's going to come down to that last race because something tells me Corey's not going to go quietly this week in Phoenix, boys and girls. Not one bit.
Nope.
Wouldn't have it any other way. And look, guys, we talked about it over and over again throughout the season. Is that if we'd have kept a score like this in the 2018 season, it would be like 140 to 50 right now. Corey'd be beating me like a redheaded stepchild with a lisp. It would have been that bad. But now that we're keeping track, it's a little bit different. So next year, look for even more of the same. This was fun as we are closing in on the last 2 races of the year. Going back all year, the lead was never higher than 14 points.
Yeah.
We kept up. Fantastic. Will it happen again next year? Don't know. Who'll be buying the shirt at the end of this season? Don't know. But we do know for Corey to stay in this race, he has to sweep Phoenix minimally, and he has to outscore me by 5. Which means I can only take the truck race in either of these 2 weeks.
Right.
That's it. That's it, guys. He could do this. Corey Huffnagel could pull this off and make you all look foolish. I mean, not do it. He can make me look foolish, but we'll find out at the end of the Phoenix race, which is this coming week. All 3 series are going through elimination weekend, starting with our friends in the Gander Outdoor Truck Series. And Corey, where, when, why, how, and what do they do to find it?
So the first race for the elimination weekend, you got the Gander Outdoor Truck Race, 8 o'clock Eastern Time on Friday night, 8:30 on FS1. And, of course, you have Sirius XM Satellite Radio, Channel 90, which, of course, you will have the Motor Racing Network.
The voice of NASCAR.
Yes.
Speaking of which, don't mean to stop you. If you are, Corey, I don't know if you have any podcast that you listen to other than this illustrious one and the Loki and Jabroni show. MRN every couple months does a fantastic 10-part series, and right now they're giving you how MRN was built, the history of MRN. It has been a great series thus far. They just released, I believe, episode number 6. I've loved them all. I think they're all great. You should definitely dive into it before it's all over.
I think I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, and they're only about 35 to 45 minutes long each. So I know you have a long drive coming up on November 17th, my friend. You could probably smash out half, if not 3/4 of the series, just driving to and from the Azarju Mini Mansion in the Great Baldini's Man Cave of Doom.
Yeah.
All right. So you got the how, when, where, and any surprises? Usual suspects?
Let's see. So we have John Hunter Nemechek, who's going to be in the 8 truck this weekend for Joe Nemechek. And let's see, other than having the playoff drivers, let's see, you have Anthony Alfredo's in the 15 truck. Let's see, Ty Majeski is going to be in the 44 for Nice Motorsports. Brandon Jones is going to be in the 51 truck for Kyle Busch Motorsports. And let's see, Joe Nemechek's going to be in the field too. And then along that, you have Jesse Little, who's going to be in the 97 truck.
All right. So now I'm going to turn the picks over to guys. You've missed so much of us not being on YouTube. Corey has himself a new name. And if you haven't heard it on the Facebook already, let's turn it over to our friend Nostradamus.
Yes, that is me.
You should get a turban for when we do the picks. That would be great.
You can do that.
All right.
I might do it. Yeah.
All right, cool. So, Corey, Truck Series, 8 p.m. Friday night. Who are your lock and your sleeper for this race?
Okay, so my lock for this one was a little bit tough, but I'm going to say my lock, I'm going to go with Ross Chastain. Now, he has been running good the last couple of weeks. He finished second at Martinsville about a week ago. Fortunately, with the FS1 that had a little bit of a snafu during the race. But anyways, yeah, so Ross Chastain's going to be my lock. So again, there hasn't been a playoff driver that hasn't won to advance to Homestead just yet. So like I said, guys, Friday's going to be very interesting to see if anybody could punch in their ticket for Homestead with the trucks. And let's see, my sleeper, I'm going to go with Moffitt's teammate, Sam Mayer. So this is a kid that's been driving in the K&N series. I think he won the K&N title, which is now known as the ARCA Menards Championship. So the one good thing about Sam Mayer is he actually won the second stage at Martinsville a couple weeks ago. And this kid's a really good short track racer as well. And I think this is only his third or fourth race in the truck series. So I'm going to be taking my eye on him pretty good. And quite possibly, hopefully, he might get a full-time deal in the trucks depending on how old he is and stuff. Because if you're under 18, you got to wait until you're about 18 to run full-time. But yeah, Sam Mayer is going to be my sleeper, and I think he'll be fun to watch. The kid from Franklin, Wisconsin.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of going, I don't know, I guess you'd call it my usual suspects here. The more truck racing I watch, the more I love Brett Moffitt. I just think the world of this guy. He's not exactly a young kid, but he's not exactly a gray, grizzled old veteran. He's just that guy. He's had some bad luck. He's not someone you look at this year in the Truck Series and go, oh, yeah, it's easy for me to see him as the champ. But he's also the reigning and defending champ, so it's hard to bet against Brett Moffitt. My sleeper, this is coming from my heart. This is what's going to kill me this week. Because, yes, kids, I'm taking Apollo Sheldon Creed as my sleeper.
Yes.
And, I like the kid. He runs his heart out. And he's one of those guys that it seems like every time I pick him, he does well. So I'm hoping to fight off Nostradamus this week and keep the streak alive. Now we move to Saturday in the Xfinity race, and Corey's going to tell you all about it.
Okay, so Saturday you got the Xfinity race, and I'm trying to pop up the entry list right now, which of course didn't really pop up on my iPad for some reason. But anyways, guys, so you got the Xfinity race, which will be on at 3 o'clock Eastern Time on NBCSN. And then, of course, you can stream it live on the NBC Sports app. And then, of course, you can go to Motor Racing Network.
The voice of NASCAR.
Yes. So, let's see. So, looking at the list, so you got, All right. So, looking at the list, you got Zane Smith, who's going to be in the 8 car this weekend for Junior Motorsports. And other than that, you got some of the playoff guys that are in there. So, interesting race.
Okay. So, I'll lead off these picks for the Xfinity Series on Saturday. My lock is going to be Cole Custer. Again, we just talked about who can knock Christopher Bell off his perch. I don't think Custer's locked into the championship 4 yet. If he is, I apologize for my misinformation. But again, he's the strongest competitor Christopher Bell has right now. He's the guy I see winning this race. My sleeper is going to be the same as last week. I'm going to stick with Justin Allgaier. I really do believe this is a guy you're going to see ease his way in on points into that championship 4.
And just want to give you a little bit of correction. So the Xfinity race on Saturday is at 3:30 on, I want to say it was on NBC or NBCSN. So either way, guys, it's on the NBC network. So.
And I won't be seeing either truck race or Xfinity race, I will be to and from New Jersey for a very special event. So I hope to be back in time for Cup Series Jones.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you got?
Okay, so for me, my lock on this one, I'm gonna have to go Christopher Bell. I think this is gonna be a second straight win for the 20 team. Of course, they ran good at Phoenix back in the spring. They got caught up in that wreck, which was not their own doing. So again, I could see another Christopher Bell win going on the way to Homestead. Easy, simple as that. And my sleeper, I'm gonna have to go with Custer on this one because, I think it's gonna come down. Yep, it's gonna come down between those two guys on Saturday, to win the race and to punch their ticket for Homestead.
You are taking a big flyer on just picking the best of the best so you don't lose this point gimmick that we've been doing all year.
Oh, I'm hoping I don't lose, no doubt about it. So,
all good, my friend, all good.
Yeah.
So then Sunday we have the Cup race. What time? What channel? What back channel are we looking at?
All right, so 2:30 NBC, and then of course the Motor Racing Network.
The voice of NASCAR.
Of course.
Usual suspects all the way down?
Yeah, usual suspects, so pretty much just about it.
All right. You want the first picks, or you want me to throw them out?
How about you throw it out?
You want me to throw it out? All right.
Yep.
It's Phoenix, guys. You can't have a Phoenix race and not think Kevin Harvick is going to win this race. It is simple. It's kind of like the Patriots going to Miami. You already know who's going to win. You just have to figure out by how much. That's what we're going to see this Sunday. Kevin Harvick is going to win. The question is, by how much? He's my lock. My sleeper, I told you we'd get here. I'm telling you, if there's one guy that's going to tip the apple cart and make chicken salad out of chicken crap that he's been through in the last few weeks, it's going to be Chase Elliott, my sleeper. If he doesn't win the race, he's going to be in the top 5, guaranteed, my opinion. Yeah. My hopeful, man, what better way to close out the last 2 race season but by having really good finishes, and based on his finish this past weekend, nowhere to go but up as he's been continually climbing. Welcome back to the hopeful position, Guido Matt DiBenedetto in that 95 Toyota.
Yes.
All right, hit it.
Okay, so my lock, and I'm sorry to say this, guy, but my lock, I'm going to have to go with Kyle Busch himself, which, of course, he has won the last 2 races on the new configuration track. And, of course, he did win the race. He did win the race last year to punch his ticket to Homestead, and won the race back in the spring. I can't even say this one with a straight face, but
you know why? But because I'm showing the hashtag.
Yes.
Hashtag FKB, but
of course you are. Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I kind of have to. Again, much like Chase Elliott, this is a guy that really needs to cement himself. He's on a winless streak that dates back 19 races this season.
Yeah.
He had a big opening. The first half of the season, Kyle Busch was incredible. Second half of the season, Kyle Busch has existed. So this is a great pick by you. This is one of those races he really needs to just pound it home.
Has to. And so my sleeper on this one, I'm going to go with the guy that finished second back in the spring. I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney, and I think this is a kid that, he ran pretty good back in the spring. He almost won the race, and I think this is going to be that one guy that you might want to keep your eye on because he did win at Talladega a couple weeks ago. So Ryan Blaney is going to be my sleeper, and then, of course, my hopeful, which, of course, it's pretty much do or die for almost everybody, but so my hopeful, I'm going to go with a guy, this is like really tough to pick for me right now, but I'm going to say my hopeful, I'm going to go with Eric Almirola. He's had some good runs the last couple weeks, which of course he did finish second at Texas back last Sunday. So I kind of look at it. I'm hoping that he can get a win before the season's out.
Okay. Very, very good. Now, this is the part where I say to Corey, is there anything you want to pimp, plug, or otherwise push upon the people?
All right. So Make sure you guys go to C&J Speedway Review on Facebook. You guys could look us up, like us on Facebook, and then, of course, you guys could watch us on Facebook. Hopefully on Facebook, well, Facebook Live or on Skype or wherever you can. But also Instagram, we are at CJ Speedway, and then Twitter, we are at CJ_Speedway. And also, don't forget to follow the Rowdy Burns Nation, which, of course, I'm going to pop that up on my phone. So just give me just about a second. And sorry, guys, I have a long list of photos in my archive. So, anyways, don't forget to follow the Rowdy Burns Nation. Facebook, I am at Rowdy Burns K1 Racer. Instagram, I am at Rowdy Burns 51 Racer. Snapchat, I am at Rowdy 51 K1 Racer 1. And Twitter, I am at Rowdy 51 Racer. So, and I also want to give a little bit of a recap. So I did have the go-karting event down in Supercharged Entertainment in Rentham this weekend, which of course I ended up not only winning, but I also dominated this weekend. And unfortunately, slip and crash, was unable to make it to the race. But until next time, kids, which of course, hopefully he will be coming racing with me next time. So, and also, guys, don't forget December 1st, I am going to be down at R1 Indoor Karting in Lincoln, Rhode Island. Not to mention, it's also Zach's birthday as well. So Zach will be turning 24, 25, I want to say, that weekend. So, which of course Zach is wanting him to win the race or something. Well, Zach wants me to have him win the race that week. So I thought, okay, I'll try, but it's not going to be easy depending on how many people there is. But yeah, so this will be the last event in 2019, and then 2020 we got some really good events in store. I know the Memorial Day go-karting event will be on a Friday again next year, so that'll be on Memorial Day weekend, so I cannot wait for that. And then other than that, we got some really good events that'll be coming up, so I know I'll probably start up again maybe around like March, like once the winter's over and it's not like too cold, it's not snowing or whatever. So, but I can't wait for next year, and I can't wait to travel all around, and I just really want to travel around the United States and just do a lot of these go-karts and stuff. So one last thing before you take the helm. So to prove you guys, I just want to show you guys a little bit that I got this past weekend. So for those of you guys that know, I'm a huge fan of the movie Days of Thunder, which of course my favorite character is Rowdy Burns, and I do like the car and everything in general. So this is how much to prove how much of a big fan I am.
Nice.
This is the exact replica of Rowdy Burns' Exxon helmet. It has everything that goes in between. It's got the microphone, which the starting price was at about $265, but then yet again, it is a must collectible, which I had to collect this one because A, I'm a huge fan of the movie, and B, I'm a huge fan of Rowdy Burns. And I will say this. I really want to bring this go-karting with me someday, but the problem is it's an open face helmet, so I can't really do that. And plus, I really don't want to get this thing scratched or ruined or whatever, so it's gonna go back in the red bag in the closet. And I'll only show it on purposes, reasons only. But this is probably one of the best helmets I've ever had, and I don't usually collect racing helmets, but if I would collect racing helmets, I'd love to collect this one.
Oh, that's fantastic. And somewhere Michael Rooker is smiling ear to ear, knowing you have that in your collection. And when you said it's not scratched or anything, the first thing that came to my mind is you're showing me the helmet. Was his helmet scratched? Like in the back or the front? Was there a scratch on his helmet?
What, are you speaking English on me?
Whatever, English, Australian, wherever the hell she's.
Oh, you speak in Australian, mate.
Wherever she's from. Nicole Kidman.
On the Barbie.
Beer.
Foster's beer.
See, there you go. So, guys, you can.
I want a Vegemite sandwich.
Oh my Lord! You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at cburns19. Yes, I'm working the Instagram gimmick now. I'm having fun with it. It's great promotion for the different shows that we do. Also, the Loki and Jabroni show, Tuesday nights. Don't forget about it. Last night we did the Secret Six-Pack where we brought in 5 incredible beers and one that absolutely sucked. But one that did not suck, and it's the only one I've had tonight, is Steve Austin's Broken Skull IPA. This is probably the second best beer we tried all night. This is fantastic, and I want to give Steve Austin a shout out right here on the show, like he listens to us, but he should. Thank you again for bringing this to Massachusetts and for just an incredible, tasty beer. And this coming Tuesday, if you are a fan of rock and roll, Nathan Hunt from Shaman's Harvest returns. They just finished recording their new album last night, and he's going to be with us next Tuesday night to talk about the new album, the stuff that's happened in the 3 years since he's been on the show, and just we have a plethora of fan questions. If you've never listened to Shaman's Harvest, do me a favor. When this podcast, this video, however you're listening to us is over, go look up Shaman's Harvest on the YouTube. Find a song, whether it's In Chains, Dragonfly, The Come Up, anything. Go find their cover of Dirty Diana. These guys are phenomenal. Nathan has been my friend for 10 years. It's great to have him on the show. It's great to be able to rub elbows with an actual rock star and get to pick his brain and talk about just good old-fashioned ass-kicking rock and roll.
Of course.
So, in case you guys forgot, this is the point where we say, Corey Huffnagel, we're just going to bring it back old school tonight. Give them the two most famous words in C&J Speedway review history.
Good night.
And there it is. So now we wait for Eddie. So this is the after hours portion of the show where Eddie is doing something, probably making coffee because Amy's getting up soon, probably, emptying the toothpaste tube while watching Asian midget porn. You don't know.
Oh, and I also want to point this out, guys. So, in case anybody doesn't notice, next Thursday I have a birthday.
Like a real birthday?
Yep.
You were born? No kidding. Congratulations to your parents.
Thank you.
And happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
So you're going to record on your birthday, but the night before, you're going to the basketball game, yes?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Well, good luck. Go Celtics. I'm guessing it's the Celtics.
Yep. So we're going to see. So the Celtics are playing the Wizards that I'm going to next Wednesday. So it'll be a good start.
Oh,
It'll be a good part of my birthday week. So I'm really excited about that.
Good. My birthday is not far away. Yours is closer though. It's your birthday, and then it's Loki's birthday, and then in December it's my birthday. So big birthday, and I get hosed, man. I got hosed all my life from cheap ass relatives. They give you this one package, like this is your combination birthday and Christmas gift. No, pony up the dough. Get me something good. I don't want this combination shit.
You mean this package?
Is that a bird? No, that's a trade, brother. You're getting the poster out. Look at this.
Oh yeah.
Look at
sure it is.
I got Greg Sachs right here talking to you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Greg Sachs. That's all I know. Wait, hold on. Hi, I'm Greg Sachs. I drove the 46 City Chevrolet car filming the movie Days of Thunder.
Yes.
Boom. There you go. But the shirt, I'm looking forward to it. That's fantastic.
I cannot wait to give you the shirt too. I'm really excited.
Nice. And dude, this poster, I thought about it more and more every single week that I talk about it. You've got all that racing gear going on. This definitely, that should be its home. That really should.
Of course.
So, past that, the only other shirt I'm looking forward to is the one I win after Homestead-Miami Speedway.
Right.
Well, you're already giving up. You sound like Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, right.
Jiminy Christmas.
I'm just like, yeah, right.
Hey, all it takes is 2 sweeps, and you are the champion of the world.
Of course.
That gives me an idea. I'm going to go out and get something special before championship weekend for whomever wins. Yes, the T-shirt is still in effect, but there will be a special added bonus that I'm going to take care of, and it's going to be fun. I have to find the right thing, and how am I going to decorate it to make it just so good?
Yep.
All right, so we you know what? My phone is the one I'm recording on. You want to text Eddie and let him know that
I'll text him right now. So I got
doing the after hours bit now. You guys missed all this stuff, man. How cool to be back on actual YouTube, to be able in 24 hours to pick this up on Apple Podcast, Anchor FM, wherever you steal your favorite podcast from. It's going to be great. The hiatus, we had fun on Facebook, but man, this is where we should have been. Unfortunately, technology doesn't move as fast as we do, so we did what we had to do, and we did a damn good job of it. If I don't say so
great
myself.
job. I think I'm proud of it. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know if Hazen's out there and he's watching. Hazen is I don't know how you put this. He's my ex-wife's cousin, and I've been slowly thinning out my collection. I just got too much stuff. I've got to pare it down. He's bought a lot of my Kevin Harvick stuff, so he's never getting this. This was a birthday gift from Loki. This is an autographed Shell 29. Gorgeous. I had that hat, but I had without the autograph, and I wore